And we are back here learning with Mr. Neff. We're talking about multiplying special cases. This is lesson 8.4 in our current textbook. Now we're talking about binomial squares and sum and a difference. And binomial squares will have a plus and a minus problem. You'll see what I mean. So there's really two parts to that and sum and the difference. All right, and so I'll point this out later, but and this is lesson 8.4. Lesson 8.6 is called factoring special cases. So this is going to be going forward, the simplifying really, and then we're going to go back to the reverse where we need to solve. So in math, we really do simplifying and then we do undoing, solving the work backwards. Okay, all right, so where are we at? First one here, right here. Okay, so here's a binomial square. And what that means is when you have a plus b squared, you'd have a plus b times a plus b. And so when you write that out, you have a times a squared is your first term. And then you have ab is your next term. And then ab would be your third term as well. And then b squared. So we have 2 of the middle, and that's always going to be the case. You'll always have 2 of whatever a and b is. All right? So how does that show up as an example? Well, let's look at 2x plus 5 squared. All right? So that's 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 5, but we're going to shortcut it here and identify that a is 2x and then b is 5. Oh, I need my pen again. So 2x squared is what we're going to say is the first term. All right, 2x times 2x is 4x squared. You know that, right? Now 2, and we said a was 2x and then b was 5. So I got the a right here and then 5 times 5. All right, and then lastly, plus b squared, plus 5 squared, which is 25. Oop, I was going to write 5 squared here. That's okay. And so then when I pull the cover away here, and there we go. We have 4x squared plus 20x plus 5. Notice again, ab, it would be 10x if I multiply these together. So 2ab got the 20x. All right, so that's the square of a binomial or binomial square. We'll say it either way. All right, here I put some highlights in as well. All right, this is 3x minus 6 squared. Remember I said there's a plus and a minus. Here is the minus. Now, 3x minus is the a, and b is negative 6. Okay, so 3x squared is the first part. The next part would be 2ab, so 2 times 3x times negative 6. And then lastly, I should have a plus sign in there, right? Plus negative 6 squared. All right, b is negative here. Okay, notice the end will turn positive. So really, if you think, you already know, look, 3x squared is 9x squared, and then 6 is 36, and you have a but that's going to turn positive. But we got to remember that middle term. All right, and so that middle term would be negative 30x. Because that minus sign is here, it's going to be negative. All right, so look back here. See that? Yeah. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Plus sign, right? Plus sign here, plus sign here. Plus sign in there, plus sign before the second term. Minus sign here, minus sign here. So really note that. Now one more thing here. You say, Mr. Neff, can't I just do 3x minus 6 times 3x minus 6? Yes, you can, and it would look just like this. All right? So if in doubt, you can do this. All right? Now I said earlier that it's more important in the other thing I'm going to show you, the sum and a difference, because when we work in reverse, that's not as big of a deal if you don't have this memorized. Okay, it is a big deal with the other one because you got to recognize it. All right, you won't understand that till later. So, but okay, so 4x plus 5. But let's assume we're just kind of doing this shortcut. Instead of being like, oh, I don't want to learn something new. I already feel comfortable. Don't want to challenge myself. Let's just challenge ourselves to do it this way again. So a is 4x and b is 5. So 4x squared is 16x squared. And then I have 2 times 4x times 5 plus 5 squared. Okay, I don't know why I keep forgetting that. Plus 5 squared. And then, so I have 16x squared. That should be obvious. And the last term is 25. Oop. And the middle term will be 40x, okay? So I hope you would actually pause to try that one out. I should have had you do that, but that's the last of the first type, the binomial square, okay? Now let's look at a sum and a difference. basically a minus b times a plus b will equal this right here. And I'm going to show you how that happens here, okay? So if I multiply it by x times x, I get x squared. And then I have a plus 4x as my next term. I have a minus 4x as my next term. And then lastly, I have 4 times 4, and of course I have a negative. The last term will be negative 16. Now what happens here to the middle term? Oh, look at that. It cancels out. All right, does that happen once? No, not just once. Every time in a sum and a difference. So I have a minus b and a plus b. The middle term is going to cancel out. I have x squared minus 16. And like I said later, when you need to factor, go in reverse. You don't know what I'm saying yet. You'll have to recognize that. All right. So this one's really important to remember. All right. So I got 3 for you to try now on this. Okay. So you can pause it and attempt them, and I'll go through each of them. All right, and then we'll be done. So the first one, okay. Again, you have the middle term is going to cancel out. So the first term is going to be x squared. Then we're going to have a minus sign. And then 5 times 5, right? Negative 25. That's it. Okay, again, pause it and you can do the second one here if you want. All right, but I'm going to keep going. So next one, 2x. And 2x, that's going to be 4x squared, right? And then the last term again will still be the 25. Right? So we're not even worrying about it. Think of it as in the FOIL method, where we do first, outer, inner, last. We don't, maybe, if I write the word FOIL, what are we doing here? We're doing the first, and we're doing the last, and we don't really need to do the inside of that. Okay, we don't need FOIL here. All right, and the last one's got a little twist to it, because it's all letters, but it's still the same thing, right? So you have 2a squared, which is 4a squared, and then c times c minus c squared, and that's it. So I think going forward, it's not too tricky. It's just remembering those terms and remembering binomial square, all right, was our first ones. All right, so get a picture of what a binomial square looks like. All right, the 2ab. And you kind of got to memorize that a little bit. And then specifically the sum and a difference that we have in this, where everything's the same except for the sign is different. Hence the term a sum and a difference. And the order really doesn't matter. You just have a sum and a difference. Okay? That concludes Learning with Mr. Neff. I hope you have a great